I was really struggling to make any progress for the baby game that we work on, and main issue with that is probably trying to over-engineer the systems that I had. And no, I started to do that because in the first version that I showed you, the systems become really huge, and even though they were like, okay, just move the unit from point A to point B, it was still like a lot of dependencies in each system, and it was a bit strange because if you think about ECS style, you would have extremely small systems that each do their own thing, don't interfere with each other that much, and only if you combine them you have like more advanced stuff. And I mean, if we were to do like systems that are 100 lines each, then I would rather just go with implementing this thing in Unity. I mean, what's the point of doing ECS if we are programming in the same style like in Unity? So there's no point for that. And yeah, I thought that maybe it's gonna be useful to just try to see if I can make any progress on this thing, because yeah, like I guess did a few things, so it's still not really like zero progress. I've tried to make this texture for tiles, like the prototype, different colors. I mean, if you can guess the color scheme would be funny. So if we go to assets, the prototype, right, so okay, it doesn't want to go through them, so let me just do like start.png. So I mean, I'll give you like time to pause the video to guess the color scheme, and I'll say it afterwards. And obviously it's Groovebox, pretty sad, but anyway, yeah. And also fixed the camera, so we no longer use the pan orbit camera. I've changed it. Of course, I took a lot of inspiration from it, so I've added the movement up and down the map, and rotating, and zooming in and out, and it still works with like smoothing the transitions, so in the same kind of style, but it's made for RTS kind of game, and it I could have used the RTS camera, but I like the other one better, right? So like this. So yeah, okay. And the thing that I was really struggling with was adding the units, and mainly the issue was that I couldn't really figure out a good way of splitting the units into small systems. So I guess we did that move to system, but honestly I'm not really happy with it because yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I was looking at different navigation meshes for pathfinding and found this one, which pretty neat. And I see that one thing that's a bit interesting, it outputs like a vec of points, so maybe that's what we need in our agent, let's call it. We need to have like a vec of points that form a path, and maybe we want to follow this path instead of just a single point, right? So maybe that's one thing. But yeah, even then, like move to was still a thing, right? So could still work. And yeah, this is what I want to add next in our feature list, let's say, to be able to build a navigation mesh from our chunks, And yeah, to have units, use this navigation mesh. So yeah, I guess this one is pretty neat. Like if this thing would load, like see, like it works pretty well, right? You know, something like this would be neat to have. And yeah, sure, this thing has a Bevy integration, right? But the discrete itself doesn't really depend on Bevy, so I would rather use this one instead of the what's it called, View Navigator or something. Yeah, so I would rather use this one instead of this, because this has a lot of like changes on its feature branches. So yeah, I mean, the thing is why I would rather use this discrete instead of the plugin is that we can make the plugin ourselves, because you know, if this thing goes let's say archived, or it's no longer maintained, then it's gonna suck, right? We are gonna have to implement this thing anyway. And I've seen like a lot of Bevy plugins going you know, disappearing, let's say, from being able to use them. So I would rather use this, because this is just the algorithm, and it's like, okay, we have the algorithm, then we can just easily use it. So yeah, I mean, the plan would be to just try to get this thing into the game, because you know, would be cool. But yeah, let's see. So let's make a NavMesh rs file, right? And then let's declare it here, NavMesh. Okay, I mean it's here, but for some reason, okay, anyway, let's restart. You know, maybe it has a spasm. Okay, and I don't know if it's like maybe a good way to but let's see if we think about it in the reverse order, let's say. So if we think of what components do we need, maybe that's gonna be easier to implement it, hopefully. So I mean, let's actually see what features we can have in this thing. Like, is it the only way to add meshes is like this, maybe? Or is there also other things? I mean, obviously, if we go to the view, the one, this one, we can steal from this thing how it's doing the from Bevy mesh or something, from Bevy mesh, right? I mean, really? Maybe it's in this thing. Like, this is the feature branch that I was saying about. So yeah, that's no, pretty sure I saw something that seemed useful. Oh, you know where I saw it actually, I think. What if it was in the one of these examples, like in build NavMesh, right? But this is mainly for this stuff. Well, I mean, anyway, let's try to steal what we can, right? So yeah, we would need a way to build the navigation mesh, right, from a mesh, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, let's try to see, like, what does this function do, for example. Yeah, like, anyway, no idea what happens here, but we can try to copy it and see what happens. And another thing would be, I don't really need to build it from a mesh, because our mesh is gonna be a square, right? So I would rather build it from, and oh, that's another point. Should we have a single nav mesh that combines all the chunks, or should we have let's say nav mesh for each chunk? That's also a good question, right? Because if we go out of one chunk to another chunk, we would transition to the other nav mesh, but I don't know if the usual way people do it is only one nav mesh or one nav mesh per chunk, right? When you do procedural generated terrain. So I'd rather start with only one chunk and let's say try to add a nav mesh for it, right? Where's the example? I was like maybe even drawing the nav mesh itself would be cool. So this would be like a GLTF file, right? The example with a GLTF. Let's see what the example does. I mean, it's humongous, but okay, so the visibility, right, would be useful for that. Anyway, yeah, like the only thing would be how to build the mesh. So I guess the example is here, so maybe this is the only way to do it. And okay, so let's see. So this is a vertex, right? What the? Okay, so it's like a point, and then what does this thing mean? It's pretty, like, this is pretty strange what this is. Okay, let's so 0, 6, and then here is a vec of something. is not necessarily like connections, because the connections is done here, like the edges, or I guess polygon. It's like docs. Okay, that's good. Let's see, structures. Okay, mesh vertex. Okay, merge. Okay. Yeah. So creating it from the polygons, that's one. Okay, so polygons. Oh, what the fuck is this shit? Okay, I mean, you know, guess it makes sense. So this is neighboring with 0 and -1. Oh. Okay, I guess whatever. And the polygon has list of vertices that make this polygon, and one-way polygon is only has one neighbor. Huh. I mean, you know, this is extremely scuffed, like building this thing. Because how do you know? Yeah, I mean, using, probably it's intended to be used like this, so vertices and triangles. And this is a tri-mesh. Oh, interesting. Tri-mesh, okay. So we can actually convert a tri-mesh into a navigation mesh. Okay, that's good, because we can build, I think it's easier to build vertices and triangles for our mesh. Okay. Okay, whatever, let's no, I don't even know where to put this thing, but literally this NavMesh. Okay, so Vim didn't spaz out, I was spazzing out. Okay, so let's try to steal some stuff, right? Yes, so we need tri-mesh. Already added the module, so that's okay. We have, like, here there's this path mesh, right? But what's path mesh? Oh, path mesh is this thing. I mean, you could have done like a bundle there, maybe. with this transform, but you know, I would say that this could be a function that just returns the mesh itself. Like, I don't want to have this complicated thing. So, oh, and then the other one was, so try mesh and mesh, right? And as I said, we should probably have like a pub function from plane, probably, or should we call it from chunk? But it's gonna be from a plane, like from chunk, right? Then maybe we can have from chunks and we create a bigger one, but let's say it's gonna be like this, from chunk. Oh, interestingly enough, we should, but I don't know if we should be able to. I see, this is using the mesh from Bevy. So let's import self here. Instead use Bevy prelude, right? Now we could impl from mesh for this mesh, right? Maybe this thing helps. But again, you know, would rather have not a generic thing like for mesh, because we are only gonna have squares, but like specifically one square. But you know, like whatever, we can copy paste from here. Looks like it, if it works, it works, right? Get vectors is the function that I wanted. Now like unwrap. Okay, let's, oh, guaranteed by Bevy. Okay, whatever, let's copy this thing. And sure, it's an option. No, I don't see it's guaranteed, but well, maybe this thing is guaranteed. Go down, what? No, whatever, maybe it is, and I don't know about it. So yeah, that's that. We need normal, and this is interesting. This is gonna rotate. You know, like maybe getting the, let's see what we can get here. So this is gonna be like what, the normals of each vertex, I would assume, right? We are trying to get the normal attribute or something. Then we have the vertices, which is what we need to make the triangles, right? and I can see here it rotates these vertices. And then it XYs them. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit curious, why do you need to rotate these vertices? And yeah, I mean, this is really, honestly, really strange for me, why you need to rotate, because usually when you build a mesh, you just need, I don't know if it works like that, but like the local coordinates and stuff, I don't know. Okay, this would create the triangles, right? Or I guess the indices. Wait, let's see what, like mesh, or I guess value dot. Vertex indices, but you cannot really get when you can do count vertices, but yeah, interesting, you cannot get the wait, but why I'm not seeing any errors? Okay, something's broken. Sure, we can, you know, I mean, this from should probably be like this, right? Like from a reference to mesh we want to convert. Okay, but yeah, what I really don't understand is this thing. Why the need to rotate? I guess, you know, we need the vertices in 2D because it's a NavMesh and it should be in 2D. But why not just getting the XZ coordinate? Well, I guess, sure, maybe it makes sense though. Because this is the normal, right? On the plane. Then we create the rotation of the normal, so the up vector basically. And here if we multiply that thing with the up, then probably xy becomes the, like, the floor, let's call it. So, you know, maybe we can steal some more stuff. Okay, so this will be like the triangles, and I guess this does like a callback, but I don't really care about doing a callback. And then it makes something like that. So we just need to do this thing, try mesh into, right? let's try to return that. I mean, no, it doesn't complain about anything, so maybe that's good. Okay, anyway, so this would be how we can build our let's call it navigation mesh, right? So, okay, the next thing would be, okay, so like this would be way too hard to build it like manually, like in this example. So what if we try to create this thing, right? What if we try to create this thing? Does it even work to build it? No, I mean the way to fix this, I guess, would be have a public struct NavMesh, and we can do something like this. Maybe I should make this thing public as well. So here we turn on NavMesh instead. And we just return NavMesh right. Okay, and no, it's, I mean, what the fuck happened to my LSP? Okay, dude, come on. What? I mean, I didn't thought there are any issues with the LSP, but I guess there are. So let's see what the errors are. So we need mesh vertex attribute ID on line 8. Does it at least have code actions? At least it has code actions. Okay, let's maybe get vertices of mesh. I mean, yeah, whatever. Does it work now? Let's see. So I guess tuples is in iter tools, but we have iter tools, so that's fine. Vertex attribute. Huh. And for the tuples, we need is iter tools Well, I was pretty sure we had this thing already, but maybe we don't. Let's see. Okay, interesting. Right. So now would work to go to examples, right? Just to have it. So let's do something like this. Is gonna be our mesh, right? And then we can do something like NavMesh from. So NavMesh from mesh does this. Oh, plain mesh builder, what? Plain 3D. Huh. Really? So, interesting. I mean, at least it has a normal, but plain 3D, right? Okay, what the fuck? But how can we... Okay, so this thing creates a mesh, it says. Plain mesh builder. And I mean, we can have from, so we just build it. Okay. Can I build this thing? Oh, the trait. Ah, okay. I mean, you know, I would rather, because we would need to clone it, right? But because of that, honestly, I will first do this thing, and then we can make the example. So let's say we want to go from 0, 0 to 3, 1, and let's print ln the path. Okay, dot 0, right? Well, would be cool to have dref on it, but let's see. you know, would have been better to create a new example, but okay. Yo, nice. Alright, so we have a path. It's also giving us the length of the path. So this would be right the way to build the NavMesh. Right, whatever, we copied the thing. It's fine. Okay, so the way to build the path, right? Okay, fair enough. So yeah, now it's gonna be interesting. Let's see if there are any interesting functions on this guy. So like if we can merge multiple meshes together, right? That would be interesting. I mean, I guess we can merge multiple tri-meshes. I mean, merge polygons, that's not... Well, I mean, you know, it doesn't really matter, but probably being able to build a tri-mesh from multiple meshes should be easier than building the entire thing. So, you know, if we need that, probably it's not gonna be like we are gonna take all the meshes that we created, right? And when we do this from, we are gonna do it for a vec of mesh, I guess. But we'll have to see vertices. Because I guess the only hard thing is the triangles. But maybe, you know, one thing would be to do, you know, I mean not here, but plus current length or something, right? And that way we could offset the indices of the triangles, but I don't know what the vertices look like, so maybe we can see what the vertices look like. Yeah, no idea why LSP doesn't work for this file. Strange. So it's literally the points from world. Okay, that should be easy. Yeah. So from a vec of meshes should still be doable. Okay, so we'll see. Like right now I'm not sure if we should have a single NavMesh, right, or if we should have multiple NavMeshes. I guess the argument for a single NavMesh is that it's gonna be easier. Counter argument is that I want to be able to create chunks when you go out of the map. So if we go close to the edge, we add a new chunk. So question is then, how can we merge two NavMeshes together? I didn't see anything like that. Unless we are able to yeah, like, you know, would be possible, I think, somehow, like getting the list, these lists of vertices and polygons, but that, I don't know, sounds a bit. Check if a given point is in a mesh. Huh. I mean, you know, we have this function, which pretty useful to detect if we go in another chunk. So but you know, I mean, it kind of works, so let's actually try not to necessarily have a plugin for this thing, but have some components that we can add. And my logic, I don't know if it's gonna be correct or not, would be each chunk to have like its own NavMesh, right? So that would be the goal. Each chunk to have its own NavMesh. Maybe we'll see if it makes sense to merge them. I know the problem is, well, it's not necessarily a problem. We can make some components and manually add them. I was just thinking that, okay, how can we easily do this thing, right? Like, for example, let's say we have a chunk, right? The chunk should also have like this plane on it, and we should also add the NavMesh for it, and that would be one thing. So maybe this thing itself could be a component. Right, maybe this could be a component, like a NavMesh component, and you know, we can add it on this entity. Pretty straightforward. But then would be cool to have like a NavMesh agent now, right? To have a NavMesh agent. Don't know yet what it will have. So NavMesh agent. So probably the agent should have a position on the mesh, right? A position on the mesh, and probably the path, like the path that it needs to follow. So, and I don't know if I want to split that into two, or if I just want to have NavMesh agent is going to have two things, the position and the path. But I guess, again, the positive aspect of splitting it would be that once we finish like following the path, we can remove the component, and we no longer call the system that interpolates the position. And the negative of splitting, honestly I don't know what's the negative, like having too many structs, but come on, we can manage multiple structs. So agent position, right? So the ref mute. So the position should probably be a vec2, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I've seen that this mesh works with xz coordinates, so let's keep it as vec2, a position of a agent, and afterwards derive component. Right, so there's the position, agent path. So for the path, you know, usually I would use a vecdeck of the waypoints, right? I think that makes kind of makes sense. Yeah, like sure, kind of makes sense. We have a vecdeck, like a queue, right, of points. I was just thinking maybe, so it's gonna be the path, right? And usually I would do like vec deck vec2. Oh no, I pressed help. Man, I need help. So we have a queue, right? So this is the path that our agent needs to follow. And I was just thinking maybe it's easier to also have current, which is gonna be, and see, like this kind of looks like that move to system that we made. So that's why I was thinking, or maybe move to is way too generic for some reason. So yeah, let's keep it like this. So we have the agent position, the current point that we need to follow, and the rest of the path, basically. And maybe another component, although I'm not sure, would be the target. Because when you click on the map, we should set the target. But once we set the target, we also compute the path. So, but I think like having this intermediate target thing might be better. So component NavMesh agent target. And see, this is, I mean, I don't know, but this is what I was talking about. It looks a bit over complicated. Don't know if it's over complicated or not, but no, like all these things are pretty simple. They make sense to do it like this. So yeah, but now the real question, should we make like a plugin and then add the plugin in here? Maybe. Why not? So let's try to hard code everything from here in the examples, right? So if we go back to getting the NavMesh, right, we don't need a path. So we have this NavMesh, which is a component. So we could add it here, and we can imagine that we are going to have some kind of system that checks for ground planes and adds this NavMesh based on the mesh. So shouldn't be, you know, like maybe hard coding things like this will help us think of how the systems should look like. Okay, so we have this NavMesh on our plane. Now I guess we need a dude, right? A dude. So let's make a cylinder. The dude is gonna be a cylinder. Cylinder. No, I don't know which one is it. So default. I mean, let's just do build. Anyway, spawn, and I mean here we only have bindless material, but we can say something stupid like pbr bundle mesh. We add this mesh, everything else is gonna be default, and I wanted to add NavMesh position to this thing. And I guess this is where it's interesting, probably. Like, how do we get the position right? That's maybe the interesting part. Okay, anyway. I mean, obviously we can have something like share NavMesh position. Wait, PBR bundle also has a transform, right? Transform. Let's do identity. So we set it to 0, 0. And then the NavMesh position. NavMesh position could be like vec2 0 for now. Like it's the same as 0, 0. So that should work. Okay. So we have something like this. And let's say we imagine that we clicked on something, right? We imagine that we clicked and we set a target to vec2, and then let's say I don't know, like new 5.0 5.0. Right, we imagine that we click like this. Now the interesting thing looks like maybe potentially we would also have to specify which NavMesh this agent is in, maybe. Since this is a component and it's not a single NavMesh, I think the agent needs to know in which NavMesh it is. Because you can imagine that we are going to have a system that is going to take in the position, the target, and also NavMesh, and it does the thing that we saw here, like let from is equal to from, to, and then we do path. So we have these 3 lines of code. So we might need the parent, or I guess, you know, which NavMesh we use. Oh, but you can figure out the NavMesh from the transform. I mean, sure, probably it makes sense to update the NavMesh using the transform. But since we hardcode everything, I would say that I feel the need to have the entity, right? And that entity would be, of course, yeah, sure, would be updated using the transform. But I think we need that derive component oh, it's scuffed. Okay. Parent, whatever. So we should probably have a reference to this thing. So we can get the ID, right? And yeah, like, sure, we could check the transform, figure out in which chunk this dude is in, and then based on the chunk we could set the agent parent. Okay. Yeah, whatever. So now, for example, you know, since we have the target and we don't have a path, we might want to generate the path, right? I mean, sure, let's do structure NavMesh plugin. Maybe it's gonna be a lot of functions, so generate path. Okay, so we need all the NavMeshes. Q NavMesh, all the NavMesh Bam. Now we need the agents. This is like agents that have the agent parent, right? Agent parent, they need to have a target. Like this is what we compute right now. And here we need the position as well. The position is the starting point. Let's put some parentheses. And then without path. And I guess without path. I think this looks good. Maybe it looks like we need commands just to be able to insert stuff. Okay. And yeah, I know that there is a way to do it async. So if we need async, you know, it's pretty easy to do async tasks. So we'll do that. But for now, let's keep it like this. So for, and I learned a cool trick is we can have something like this, but you know, let's call it parent. Although position target, don't really remember. Ah, it likes that. Okay, so NavMesh agent position agent target. Yes, we have a vec2, another vec2, and we have an entity. So I mean, we are pretty close to having this thing. And I guess to get that, NavMesh okay, say get parent, right? UD reference, okay, and this is a result. So if let okay NavMesh, then we can, we can actually do some cool stuff. So this is a NavMesh. Okay, so it's a NavMesh. Right. Maybe NavMesh. Can I do? Oh my god! What the fuck? Okay, perfect. So we have the mesh, right? We have the position and the fucking target. So we are all set to do this crap, which is pretty neat. And I figure out that we also need entity here. So this is agent Schmidt. Okay, pretty close. No, from, we don't even need that because it's smart enough to know to use the deref. So that's pretty cool, but I don't know if it was for this. So position target, of course, dereference those bitches. Okay, so this is an option path. Well, I would probably match. No, I think it's easier to if let some, because I don't care about the other. I mean, you know, probably we could care about the other case, but not right now. So we have a path. It's interesting. So we saw that the path had something like distance, like length and path. So we could actually just take the path and just put it in, you know what I mean. So commands entity, and this is the agent, and we want to insert, basically insert the path. So this thing, pretty straightforward. Can we path into question mark? That's the fuck, we can do that. No, I'm not used to things working that well, so pretty neat. No, I'm not expecting. And yeah, so we added the path, and I want to also remove the target. Remove the target. I think this should do it. So, you know, we take all the agents and we generate paths for them. Straightforward. Add systems, update. Okay. And we do it like this. Okay, fair enough. No, and I also saw something like, usually if you have systems, you should also have system sets. I don't know what system sets are, so I'm gonna leave them out for the moment. But once I figure out what it means, maybe it's like instead of using state, we can say that we run this thing only when we are in the main level or something, whatever. So this is the NavMesh plugin. We should probably add it to core. I would say. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure why I like to put each plugin in a separate call, but the systems all in one call. Strange. Maybe it's because of the brain rot. Okay, so we have, I mean, we should see this thing working. Ugh. No, what I really hate is having to type all these characters is so hard. But whatever. So now if we run the example, we should see the path appearing once, going from 0, 0 to 5, 5. And it actually happened. Oh, first fucking try, dude. Oh, it's pink. Ugly as shit, but yeah. Going to 5, fucking 5. Okay. So that's a good first step. So the next thing would be moving the agent to this, well, I guess from this position to its current position, or I guess let's set the current position first. So function NavMesh update current. I guess current is the point that we try to reach at this point. So how can we actually do that? I would say that we still need commands. Huh. Like, what if current doesn't exist? No, I guess current should either be equal to position initially, or we should add it once you reach current. No, that's a good point. Or maybe we should insert it here. We insert current to be the position itself. Right, let's think about it. So imagine that we clicked. Okay, wait 1 second. I was gonna say, imagine that we clicked on the map, the guy starts to move, right? We click again somewhere else. So this thing would change. Not necessarily. It's gonna wait until it finishes the path, until it inserts a new one. So now it depends. Do you want to reset the path? I guess no. Maybe yeah. Maybe we want to remove the path. So if you click right again, right away in another place, we want to change the path. We don't want to continue. So maybe we could remove this thing, this without. That way we overwrite the path each time we click. That would be one thing. Okay, makes sense. And maybe even inserting current right away. So current, I guess NavMesh agent current, and we should set current to position. So it's like, if we think about it, it's like, okay, you reached, what this tells the agent is that it reached the position that it tried to reach, so it can start going on the new path. I think that makes sense. Right, like if you click somewhere, it just does this stuff. Okay. And when we try to update current, we look for the following stuff. We need the position. Yes, we need the position. we need NavMesh agent. We need a current, and I think current is gonna change, so and we might also need mute NavMesh agent path. Right. I think this makes sense. Okay, whatever, dereference that. So we have all the agents that are currently moving around, right? And what I would like to check is if this position is close to being equal to current. Then we can pop from the path. And I guess that if the path is empty, we can remove all of this so that we don't call it again. No, makes sense. And then we can actually just also have commands. Maybe. Just thinking this can be then inserted. Well, mutable, it works. So yeah, maybe it makes sense to remove the path, at least the path. Maybe even current. Like remove them from the entity. Because it's like it reached the end, so what's the point of having these things? Okay, makes sense, right? But now what's my issue? Well, I guess we could implement this one and you'll see immediately what. So agent, NavMesh agent position. What I don't like about this is we need to do it like this. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What am I doing? In queue agents dot iterate. Right, so we have like I cannot, because current is what is current? Current is, I mean, I tried yesterday to do something like this and wouldn't let me because it also wants this, but now it says that, whoa, what the fuck, it works? Huh. I mean, you know, I'm gonna just, okay, perfect. So like right now what I would probably do is compare position with current, check for, I don't know, like Euclidean distance, whatever it's called. So something like if position square length what the fuck is, oh, length, okay, So here we have current. If this thing is smaller or equal to something like epsilon, then we can this would be really cool. Can I say something like current is equal to path dot pop front? Issue is that I think this is an option. So now I can do a match statement some new, and the current is equal to new, and if we have none, then we can entity we should be able to remove nav, oh my god, NavMesh agent current. Just remove this motherfucker, and we also remove NavMesh agent path, the other motherfucker. Okay. Incompatible. Dude, come on, come on. I really want shit like that. Okay. Oh. No, this is. Yeah, what does this bitch want? I guess this should be a mutable reference though. This one as well. Dude, what the fuck? Well, I mean, oh, it turned mute. Oh, and now, yeah, fuck. See, like, it had this mute whatever bullshit. Okay, so it means that we need to use it like this. You know, I was really surprised that finally Rust was working, but seems like it's not. Okay, so this should update current, right? And oh, well, no, it's fine. I was like, oh, it's gonna be cooked, but it's fine. I was like, oh shit, we are gonna remove the current and the path once the path becomes empty, but it's here, it has one element, comes here, now it's empty, and the next time is gonna be this, so it's fine, hopefully. Who the fuck knows? At this point I don't even know, dude. Nav, I'm just curious what's gonna happen. I mean, nothing is gonna happen, so we could print some stuff. Let's front it. Let's front that bitch and see what happens. Okay, I mean, yo, it actually got it. Okay, perfect. So next step is the one that I said that I'm a bit weirded out about, because NavMesh update position, and sure, we are gonna need position and current. I think that's all. I think this is all. So thing is, okay, it's not mutable. This is gonna be mutable. And this. We want to change the position, right? We want to interpolate between position and current. I mean, we also need a speed, like we did in the last one. We need the speed, right? And before I was doing something like an enum with teleport and speed, but I think it's much smarter to do something like derive component and then deref mute, and now we should have a pubstruct NavMesh agent speed f32, and then have a derive bundle struct NavMesh agent walker, right? And this guy is gonna have position and speed, right? And then, or I guess I can even write it NavMesh position, NavMesh speed, and then you can have something like pubstruct NavMesh agent teleport, and instead of speed we can have another component for teleport. I think, you know, right, makes more sense than to use enums. And this is where I feel like also Rust isn't necessarily like, oh, it's like for some reason Bevy makes Rust enums be useless, like ECS makes enums be useless, but I mean still can have, because this thing is implemented in only in Rust, so you can still have like just Rust code. Anyway, so we have the position. Did I delete that? No. The walker. And so that's how I would spawn a walking agent. It has like position, speed, stuff like that. Pretty self-explanatory. Can you actually query for a bundle? That's a freaking new one. What the fuck? No, you cannot. Who would not expect that coming? Okay. NavMesh agent speed. Need some speed. Okay, I mean, it is what it is. So we need a for loop again. The fuck I do with entity? I don't know. Okay, so for mute position in NavMesh current, and oh, that's the speed. Okay, whatever speed. NavMesh speed. agents dot iter. Kind of works, I would say. So I guess iter mute. Again, I forgot. So speed, current target, and position. Obviously I deleted. Oh, actually never mind. So Now, like in this place, we would just need to interpolate the positions, and yeah, I mean, we'll git diff and git diff that bitch and get back our stuff. So yeah, and what I didn't like about Move2 is that it works with transforms directly. So in this case, we don't have the knowledge of transforms. We just use vectors. I think that's a bit better. We still have to convert from those vectors to transforms, but we'll see how that's done. Probably just multiply with the mesh's transform, some fucking shit like that. Anyway, so we need time, the time resource. Okay, because we work with speed, we need to multiply with delta time. Pretty straightforward. So let's take the delta. So this delta represents like how much we need to move, the distance, right? Some kind of distance. Then here I was doing like, okay, this is the, let's call it total distance, right? We can have like the total distance is current distance to origin, which is position. So let's take the position, and then if this distance is really small, you might notice the duplication, but no, I feel like whatever, no. My only issue is that here we do distance squared and here we do distance, so it's not gonna be the same. It's like, yikes. Right, that kind of sucks. Unless we had something like reached waypoint or reached current that we add here, and this guy just removes it. That would probably be better. Should we do that? Why not? So we have current. Let's do something like derive component mute. I made all of these structs public, but I think only like 2 of them need to be public. Current reached. So it's gonna be just like a flag. I forgot how it's called, but yeah. So we actually need, I mean, we can say with reached, right? And we don't even need current. Actually we do, but we don't need position then. So this would be like this, right? okay, and we remove current, we remove the path, and I would also remove, no, I think we remove the entity remove, I think we remove NavMesh current reached every time. So if it exists, then we update current and then we remove it. This is like a one-shot systems, but honestly I prefer it like this, like with, even though it's, I think it's a 1 frame delay, right? Because we add the component, then it comes here, then it removes it, so I guess it's 1 frame delay, but I don't think it matters that much. So now that we remove the thing with which was checking the distance, we only check distance in one place. I think it's better to do it like that. Otherwise it's, you know, it sucks. Okay, so if the distance, let's say, is smaller or equal to epsilon, then we cannot really do the interpolation. We just return current, I would say. We also need commands to be able to insert that thing. So I mean, like saying here new, I would rather say position is equal to, and here we do current, and on the else case we need to interpolate. So this is the fraction between 0 and 1, and here we interpolate. So this is position dot okay, and here I would also say commands entity. Oh, actually I needed the entity. Entity, yes. Okay. The freaking agent. Okay, so we insert reached. Huh. Okay, I think so. It's gonna be something like, we try to update the position, we see that it's really close to the target, so we say, okay, we reached the current, this is your new position, and otherwise we haven't reached the target, and we interpolate the position linearly or whatever this crap is. Okay. Update position. Let's see what happens if we, I don't know, for example, print the position or something. I need to get used to the key combination of pressing this shit, but bruh, really? Position 0? Okay, so I mean, watch it not working, that would be funny. So. Oh, I forgot to add the speed. Okay. So examples. So here, for example, oh, it's also parent. That's interesting. We could add walker instead of that, and then we have vector 0. Like this. Let's say 5. Oh, the only thing I need to make public, and I made them private. Finally, enough. Did what? Fuck you mean? Forgot to save. That was a bit okay. Holy shit. It works. It freaking works. I mean, you know, I'm not surprised that it worked. I mean, it worked first try, basically, if you think about it. So see, like here, for example, it showed 0, then again 0, only then it did this thing, so it missed 1 frame, basically, right? And here, for example, again 1 frame. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Actually, it's 3 frames with 0. But, you know, I don't think it's noticeable though. We are actually gonna display the movement. So it's like it prints this thing, then it inserts this, then it runs again, and I guess it depends on the order you this thing run in, so probably it really depends on that. So we might want to chain them, at least these two we want to chain them. I don't think this is this does the generate path, so we might need to chain these two together to get like consistent stuff happening. Alright, so now if we try again, see, like now it's only 1 frame that's being wasted. So yeah, I guess let's try again. Let's just see that it happens the same way. Yeah, so now first we update and then we update the current target and then we update the current position. So if it happens that this happens, we spawn this thing 1 frame earlier. Well, I mean, it's still gonna happen in the post update, so it's not gonna happen right away, but it's gonna be 1 frame earlier, I guess, something like that. I don't know, we'll see. But I mean, it works for the moment. It seems like it's working just fine. So you know, now that we have all of this crap, I guess the next logical thing would maybe be to make the thing actually move, right? So let's see. We have the dude. Okay, the transform. So, I mean, the easiest way, like, I wouldn't want to have anything related to transform in NavMesh. I would like to keep it out. So that should be done in a separate system, or I guess in a separate plugin. Also want to figure out which ones don't need to be public, but that's another topic. So so we need to have a system that takes in a position and updates the transform. Okay. I'm also thinking that it makes sense to take in the parent for the rotation. But my guess is that for now should be fine. So maybe something like function update transform dude, update the transform for our dude. So dude is gonna be a query. It's like our dude. Okay, fine, dudes. Dude. Okay, it's gonna be position. It's gonna be just position. So need transform the position, right? So, you know, this thing is gonna work, sure. So for mute transform position in queueDudes.iter mute, I would like to do something like translation. Can I maybe change it? Extend 0 xy. Like, sure, this is gonna work. It's not whatever. It's not the ideal way because we hard coded a lot of stuff, but I think it should just work. Like, we need to rotate the transform and everything, but yeah, like, it works, right? Holy shit, we actually managed to do it. That's pretty cool. So next thing is to get target inserted on our dude when we click. That would be much nicer, just to test around. So here, no, let's do it. It's easy enough. So we need mute commands. We also need queue dudes. NavMesh position. Let's just, you know, do something quick and dirty. So here, if, oh my god, we need a button. Mouse input, gonna be a res, button input or whatever, mouse button. Don't really remember if that's the way to do it, but if mouse input, not just the fuck, just pressed mouse button, Jesus, left, if we pressed left click basically, we want to do 4, more important to have the entity. Yeah, so these are width, like I want it to have a transform, I want it to have a shit like this, but I don't care about them, right? So for dude in queue dudes.iter, I want to do commands with entity dude insert. Okay, so I mean now if we click, should actually move the dude. Well, we actually have to, I think it's point, oh, it's a victory. Okay, I mean exit the point. Oh, you don't even need to, so this should just work then. I mean, fair enough. Okay, I mean I know it's the same thing as before, but now it's done using a NavMesh. So that means we should be able to have obstacles and shit. So yeah, like the next thing would be to add obstacles. I think that's the next thing. And I you know, I was playing around with some like RTS style stuff. I mean, by playing around, I was just looking at YouTube. So strong, like I was playing this game like a while back, not in 2005, like maybe 2012, but like I saw that units don't really have collision between each other, so I'm not gonna add collision between my units as well. Like I saw that the units go through other units, but they go around buildings and obstacles. So you know, I think that's not necessarily easy, but easier than also having collision with other units. So yeah, like the next thing would be some kind of collision. But now the thing is, I guess good way to figure out how to do that would be, I mean, you know, this thing kind of, in a weird way, or maybe this thing, like trying to achieve this example. So add obstacle grid, spawn agents, you know, having something like this. right? So figuring out how to do obstacle. Let's see, it also updates the thing randomly. Okay, it's cool. It also has like padding around the obstacles, which is neat. So yeah, imagine this being like trees and rocks. So that's what I am thinking about. So where is the examples? I guess it's interactive or something. But yeah, like what I would like to have is to, let's say, squash that thing. Okay, anyway. Or the other thing is, how can we actually visualize the NavMesh? So NavMesh display, it's a handle. Where do you use this bad boy? So NavMesh disp. So it adds this this thing. Oh, okay, makes sense. The wireframe mesh. So we can have something like the wireframe mesh. But I guess this is a feature from this crate. But I mean, it's still cool, right? So having something like that for the debug, a wireframe mesh, that's always useful for navigation. So maybe we'll see. But what was I trying to do? So examples instead of interactive. I think this is the interactive example. I would like to see how to deal with obstacles. So I see that it has a AABB obstacles. This is build NavMesh. And what? Transformed is in mesh. Whatever. I don't care about that. Yeah, like at this moment I have no idea how to do that, but yeah, I'll try to figure out a way, right? Maybe it's in lib or something, like something related to obstacles. Oh, from obstacles. Triangulation and obstacle. Question mark. The fuck is triangulation? Okay, from outer edges. So we can have like from outer edges add obstacle. Yo, that's cool. I mean, fucking Minecraft noises because of this shit. It maybe it makes sense. So Yo, that was fucking close. This was fucking close. Okay, so blocks RS. Triangulation. Uh-huh. Yo, this is pretty good. Can we convert? I don't think it's possible to convert a mesh to a triangulation bullshit, but okay. How about a tri-mesh to triangulation? Not possible. Okay, fair enough. So maybe triangulation is what we actually need to use, because we have squares for chunks. So with like from outer edges is gonna be just you know, -1 1 so on. So we already know that because we saw it in the beginning, like we printed the vertices, so this should be possible. And then add fucking obstacle. That's pretty cool. I don't care about this. Where is the real example? I want to see it again. So add dude, come on. It's add obstacle. It's pretty sure that it's in here. Really, there's no obstacle. See, like this is how you would do it, right? So path mesh. Makes sense. Construct the mesh from the corners of the chunk. That's pretty cool. And then we have obstacle. Obstacle. But when we spawn obstacles, where the hell does he spawn obstacles then? I swear to God. It's not in helpers. It's not in build. Maybe it's in build. Maybe it's in build. Because here we have obstacles, right? So, but like build doesn't do any. So for each NavMesh. This is fucking stupid. Is it something internal in this shit? So don't think so. I think this is just like wouldn't make sense. So it should be here somewhere. Like this is the list of obstacles, right? But I don't see them being used. That's weird. Now I would expect that to be in, I mean, if it's in UI, then it is what it is. Is it in UI? Let's search for add. Okay, obstacle. Oh, this is the button for add obstacle. But see, like, add fucking random obstacle, right? Holy shit, it actually does that. Okay, so it's whatever spawn yeah, like it just adds the obstacles. But I'm curious, how do you actually update the, you know, like the thing? Right, like it's so weird. Like there's nothing about obstacle. Like, sure, here you create a mesh from edge and fucking obstacles. Sure, whatever. But where do you update this freaking mesh? I mean, you know, whatever. It is what it is. We'll figure it out. I mean, for now we have the agent. It's the same thing as last time. Like the functionality is the same, but now we use a NavMesh, right, for it. So it's instead of just picking the point, we have a navigation mesh on this entire plane, and we run the algorithm that does that. And the plan would be to, instead of triangulation or whatever it was called, instead of tri-mesh, which is the current way we build our mesh from this one, is to use triangulation, right? So we are gonna say, okay, build a mesh, like the nav mesh from the corners. So like if we click here, it doesn't go there. And after we have the triangulation mesh, kind of, we should be able to use add obstacle with the edges, and that thing should allow us to have obstacles like trees, for example. So that's the next thing I want to add. Also, I want to add the wireframes, and maybe like when you click somewhere to show an arrow with a direction. And yeah, that would be the goal for maybe tomorrow. So do the wireframes. Oh shit, did I click? Yeah, it works. So like click somewhere, see the line with maybe gizmos or something, and also add the obstacles stuff. So maybe you have a couple of obstacles around this track just to test around the units. So yeah, I guess we'll see in the next one. So see you.